The name's Hall. Dante Hall. Nets Nation. We got three new players joining the squad. Jamal Crawford, Michael Beasley, and some of you were talking about DeMarcus Cousins, but we went another way. We're not going with the boogeyman. We're going with Mr. Hall, Dante Hall. I have to say, I feel pretty mixed about it. I don't know exactly how. Actually, I shouldn't say I don't know exactly. I think I do know exactly how my partner thinks. Mr. Darbooz, join me. What's the? Give me some takes. Give me some takes here, because I think mine are in classic fashion going to be a little more mild than yours.
I I think an organization has to have principles. I've been upset this entire week. I am the biggest Sean Marks fan in Brooklyn. That is not controverted. That is not a question. That is real. So when I tell you Brooklyn Nets, we are in trouble, we are in trouble. But I'm not gonna hog the mic. I'm not gonna hog the mic. I have a partner. His name is Sam LaChow. Sam, please tell me why I am tripping.
All right. So this is why I think you're tripping. So in my opinion, they could have gone. They could have gone in two ways. They could have gone the G League route, or they could have gone the let's get veterans and let's do some scoring, etc.
Mm-hmm.
They did a little bit of a hybrid, and they've already missed out, as you've eloquently said both on Twitter and on this podcast, on some decent G League guys that I think in the past an old Sean Marks, a younger Sean Marks, and maybe a little bit more hungry and trying to prove himself Sean Marks would have been all in on, like what he did with Dinwiddie and Harris, and what he could have done about your favorite non-Nets player, Christian Wood.
Oh.
But with all that said, I think it is pretty clear that for the purposes of this year and this team, they needed some other guys that could put the ball in the basket. And Jamal Crawford and Michael Beasley can do that. And Dante Hall, and if I'm saying his name wrong, I apologize. He looks like he's kind of the stretch five that this team needs, with DeAndre Jordan out, with Claxton out, and he seems like he's got a bigger body than Jared Allen, so I'm happy about that. But all in all, I think what shouldn't go under the radar, and this is where I think, we've spent a lot of time talking about Jacques Vaughn on this podcast. And look, Jacques is going to have to prove something right now, because if the Nets are going to kind of act, which I think they kind of have, like, I mean, they're kind of playing for whatever, and they're not really playing with anything to lose, then they better give guys like Kurucs a lot of minutes. They better see what they have in Chioza. Because one thing I do know is that if guys like Jamal Crawford and Michael Beasley, who are not quote unquote assets for this team, if they're hogging up all the minutes from some of the younger guys who need this moment to really like shine and try to show what they have when they're the quote unquote guy, a la Levert, a la Jared Allen, a la Kurucs, a la Chioza, all that. I don't want to see I don't want to see a lineup of Jamal Crawford and Beasley getting 35, 37 minutes, whatever it is, because that's not what this is about. So that's why
Sam.
Yeah.
Michael Beasley is suspended for 5 games. We signed the player who is suspended for 5 games. And you got to excuse me. I'm drinking margaritas. My wife made some contraption that she poured in a glass. It had a whole entire this little tiny bottle of tequila in it. She poured it into lime popsicles and she blended it and she gave it to me. And she said, Yves, you go out and talk about the Nets after you drink this because Sean Marks is doing less. Drink this margarita mixed with popsicles, lime popsicles. Drink it. Call your friend Sam LaChild. Record your podcast and tell them your feelings. And my feelings say Sean Marks is not good at his job. Excuse me. I know everybody on Nets land is scared of me. I mean, not scared of me. She hates me because I am willing to say what none of them, not Nets Daily, not any of the podcasts, not anyone who in the Nets sphere of influence is willing to say. And it's that Sean Marks has not done his job well. Now, mind you, Sam, you are my partner in this front office podcast. We're doing this together. I don't want to hog the microphone, but I want to say I'm not happy. I don't like this. I don't like this loser attitude, Sam. Am I tripping, Sam? Please tell me if I'm tripping. So, why should I be excited?
This is why I think you're tripping right now. This is what I'm gonna say. Sean Marks had a mandate when he got this team about 4 years ago to make this team into a contender. And in the last 4 years, he has taken them from one of the worst, bottom of the NBA trenches to in a position this coming year where they absolutely should be an Eastern Conference Finals and Finals contender. And because of that, when you look at the assets going up and down, and I know that you have very specific feelings about Kyrie and even KD, but this team, and you know it and I know it, has two top 10 to 12 level guys, including KD, who's a top 2 guy if he's healthy. This team has LeVert, it's got Dinwiddie, it's got Harris, and what? Some of those guys may get moved, and when those moves happen, we can judge it. But for right now, we have those pieces. We also have Jared Allen. We also have DeAndre Jordan. We also have Garrett Temple. There's a lot, and you can only play so many guys at once. So I understand that you've had some issues with what he's done, and I have as well with what he's done at the 4 slot. But right now, in this moment, where we're in the middle of a pandemic and where the Nets seem like they are, and all the health and all the love to all the Nets players and obviously everybody who's been affected by this. But as we're talking about the Nets seem to be the quote unquote sickest team, and I don't mean that in a complimentary fashion. I mean, this team is scraping right now, and a lot of guys have also already gotten signed because people have dropped out. And there were even moves that happened during this last 3 or 4 month hiatus, and so it's hard for me to really get that upset because I don't think Marks has truthfully missed on anything that strong yet at this point. And to your point about Beasley, about he's suspended for the 5 of the first 8 games, I don't think any guy that you would have signed really was gonna play that major of a role right now. I know that they're incredibly thin, but I have to tell you, I don't
agree.
I don't even think I like. Do you even want Beasley playing that much?
I don't even know how Beasley was an okay signing. If I'm Psy, if I'm our leader, Psy, our communist China leader, Psy, I'm firing Sean Marks on the Beasley signing alone.
Wow.
Because here's the thing, and don't forget, I've been drinking margaritas. My wife took lime popsicles and she blended it with tequila. And then she told me go paint her brownstone. Listen, I'm a husband. I just do what my wife tells me. But nonetheless, my point is Sean Marks went out and signed players who are 40 years old. Jay Crossover is 40 years old. Sean Beasley, excuse me. What the hell is his name? Excuse me. Michael Beasley is a shit player. He's a talented player. But because he's got all this other stuff going on in his world, he smokes way too much marijuana. He is a shit player. He is on the Brooklyn Nets. You know why he's on the Brooklyn Nets? Because Sean Marks does not plan. The beginning of the season, and my tweets will support this, I said, how are you starting this season with Taurean Prince at the power forward, a position he has never played in his life? He is a small forward, a college shooting guard. Where is this concept of putting these 6'7" and below players guarding these big wings? And when I say big wings, I'm not talking about 7-foot wings. We have a 7-foot wing. I'm talking about Paul George. I'm talking about Harry Giles. I'm talking about the players who are 6'10" and above, who when they were in AAU, they played like they were shooting guards. The NBA has evolved, Sam, my friend. But Sean Marks has not evolved with the NBA. And it causes me a lot of stress.
But don't you think... Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I don't disagree about what you said about Taurean Prince, but I mean, this year, whether we like it or not, and I agree with you, and we've talked about this, that Marks clearly, given that KD wasn't playing this year, this seemed like this was a general kick the can down the road, feel out year. And a lot of people, I know, your former one-time co-host Evan Roberts doesn't like the whole like wasting a season or whatever. But the truth is like you're playing without your best guy, and you know that your best guy's not going to be there. The season is just gonna feel weird, and it's gonna be a little bit. Things are going to be in motion and feel like they're kind of out of sorts the whole year. And the truth is that this year, from the get-go, from the moment that the NBA season started and Kyrie got hurt and LeVert got hurt and the pandemic happened and Atkinson got fired and now there's like 7 different guys that aren't going to Orlando. This season has been in an NBA season that is as bizarre and weird as any of them in the past. The Nets probably take the cake of having the weirdest season within this weird season. And that's basically to say that I think it's tough to get on Marks about this position when I think he was still kind of feeling out stuff. Like the Torian Prince trade was and the